Coming off a good weekend and had a nice day off. I know our girls enjoyed having a day off yesterday, and looking forward, to today at 2 o'clock, getting back at practice and kind of just getting back to work. So our girls have put us in a unbelievable situation, position to be. A lot of people across the country ranking us high. Really doesn't matter at this point. What matters is at the very end, but it does set up intriguing matchups like this weekend with Florida State, who's coming in. So excited about the opportunity. I don't think I would be too excited going 3-0. I wouldn't be too excited and worried if we lost a couple of games. I don't think. I think it's really an opportunity to find out kind of where we're deficient and what we need, because we're going to get all we want, and we're going to get challenged by a good coaching staff. And so I'm excited about the opportunities that are there. So, the matchups will be good. I mean, they have good pitching, good defense, good hitting, just like us. So it'll boil down to probably just a couple plays each game, I would think, and it should be fun. The weather looks incredible now. I was really concerned about that last week because the highs were showing in the low 40s, but now being in the 60s and 70s and all that ought to be no excuse for our crowd to be crazy, and really to show the whole country what this program is about and has been about and will continue to be about. So with that, I'll just take your questions.
What I think you kind of answered this in that, but the motivation for scheduling a series like this is just what's at the top of the list for you?
I mean, I want to be challenged. I'm not into chasing wins. We never have been here. We've been into chasing answers and figuring out what it is that we need to do. So I think it's a great reward for our fans to be able to see teams like this time of year. And I think that's the reason I gave you the answer of I'm really not. I mean, I don't think you can read too much into when it's over what the results are. I don't think you can read too much into that, other than personally, what do you need to do to keep getting better, to improve. But the motivation is just to test yourself as much as you can. And I am thankful to Lonnie and her staff that they're willing to travel here. There's a risk of weather. They don't have that issue for the most part there. I've told her, and I'll remind her when she's here, hey, I'd like to do this each year if you want to. I'll come to you at any time, and if we can get you to return to those trips, that's a huge deal. So I think that's it. It's just to prepare us for June, and that's all this team is focused on, is just getting better each day so that we're hitting our stride at the very end.
Kenny, obviously rankings are important, but when you look at the experience of this team, how long you've been doing it, where the program's at, are rankings a problem? Do they matter right now? Is it difficult to try to keep the girls from saying, oh my gosh, we're number 3, or is it just business as usual?
I hope it's just business as usual. I haven't even talked about the rankings once to our team. Jordan actually put out a really good tweet here today. And most people may not understand it, but I knew exactly what it meant. He hears all of my talks. He's on our bus. And he heard the talk last year in Clearwater when we were playing kind of defensive. We were ranked high, and our girls were acting like we were the hunted. And I think maybe even I fell victim to that as well, just a bit. I should have reminded our kids that, hey, I don't know, don't get caught up in all this stuff, because it really doesn't matter right now. What matters is we currently have nothing that anyone wants, right? I mean, we don't have what Florida State has. They have a trophy, the big trophy. We don't have what OU has. They have many of them. And so we're trying to get one of those. So until that happens, there's no need for us to think of anything other than we are hunting. We're not the hunted. And so that's probably the best way I can explain that is that there's really no need to talk about much. We just got to get better. Everybody in that room, in there, they know that we're really good. They hear that from their coaching staff. I'm damn sure they hear it from all their family and friends and all that. The reality is, can you keep that under control and just be the best you each day?
When you go back a handful of years, you have to get past Florida State to make it to the World Series. It's been a short amount of time. What does this series mean for this program to get a program like Florida State to come into Stillwater?
I mean, I think we have respect around the country. I don't know how much. You'll have to ask the people that come in here. But I think we've changed the narrative about OSU and our softball program. And so, and again, it's not something that we started. I mean, we just reignited it. It was already here. So, it's cool. I mean, it makes me feel good. And I think it tells people across the country we're not afraid to play. We're not afraid to lose a ranking. I'm not chasing a ranking except the last one. And so it's cool to have. It's cool that they're coming here. I think it tells you a lot about their program. I mean, they're not worried. I can tell you that now. But I know that they're preparing like we are, and they're going to come in here and fight.
Is it difficult for you to find top-tier competition that's willing to trade series with you?
It's hard to say. I mean, the one cool thing about scheduling is you do get to schedule people that you like to play. As long as they feel the same way. There's a lot of teams that I don't truthfully I don't like to compete against. There's something about it that I just don't like. So we try to avoid them if we can. I sure won't avoid a good team, but there's just certain antics and things that people do, or reindeer games like my old coach used to say. I don't like that kind of stuff. So it hasn't been too crazy. And the better that we've gotten, the easier it's gotten, to be honest.
When did you know what you had with Michaela Work?
Well, I was afraid. Like I knew about Michaela Work in high school, and then when she went to KU, I was like, and we were recruiting her. Okay, and the Cliff Note version is she got hurt twice in the summer that really derailed her recruiting. One of the I believe one of the injuries was colliding with Audrey in a travel ball game in which Michaela broke her forearm and tore her ACL in the same play. And everybody went, those are two hard injuries to come back from, right? Gets healthy. Kansas takes a chance, which they should, because she's good. And if I was them, I would take that chance too. And then in her summer senior year, I believe she tore her other ACL. So I already knew how good this kid was. But I was just 3 injuries in a year's time that were significant, and for us at the moment, it just wasn't a need or a pressing need. So, but I was worried that we're gonna have to face her for 4 years. To be honest, she's still got to get better. I mean, she's not there yet, but she is showing you what she's all about. I mean, I've kind of forgot that she's in the 4-hole as a freshman. It's pretty cool. And there's been some ups and downs, but she got a chance to be a really special player here.
With that injury past, how impressive is it that she's been able to recover from that and play at a level like this?
Yeah, I think it tells you a lot about a couple of things. I think it tells you a lot about her. She was willing to go through that and do it right. I think it tells you a lot about our staff here, our program with Chance and Carrie, having a Habib. I think we're the only, still think we're the only school in the country that has a full-time strength coach for softball only, where Chance is responsible for our athletes only. That's not normal across the country. And then to have somebody like Carrie, who's a PT and ATC, You would think that all of that parlayed is pretty good. So you know, it's cool that she can fight through it. She's a tough kid. I mean, a lot of kids just give it up. To be honest, and I don't blame them. You go through this, and you start thinking about your long-term health. We're going through that with Scotland David now. I mean, she's had 3 knee surgeries here. Has never really got on our field and is really talented that you guys don't even really know about yet. And she's a couple weeks from, I think, being cleared. And excited about this kid. So we have a lot of kids around here who are tough and competitive, and it kind of starts to breed itself. And that's what I've always wanted from day one, was to have a competition that just kind of feeds itself.
Kenny, what went into bringing on a strength coach strictly for softball? How was that decision reached?
I don't actually know, except I asked, and they said yeah, and I kind of walked through why and how and how it looked, and we decided yeah. So having a guy like him, then it was going out and finding the right person. I had a really good strength coach here that came with me from Florida, and got a little burnout and that kind of stuff. So when we went, to look around, I called a lot of my baseball guys because I wanted somebody that was really, really versed in the throwing athlete, the shoulder and all that, and along with keeping people healthy. I mean, that's the name of the game here, and we've done a really good job up to this point. Knock on wood, we've stayed fairly healthy. We've had multiple kids that have started every game of their career, played every game, from Shippey to Pennington to Maddie Sue Montgomery. I mean, Shy and Naomi are on big streaks now, and it's just crazy. So I think that says a lot about what's going on inside here.
When you brought him on, did you realize that you were the only program just for softball to have one?
I think we did. We knew that. I use that as much as I can. I don't have a shiny new stadium to show off, but I've got a lot of good people to show off. And I don't even, like, when I bring recruits and I drop them off with Chance. I don't sit in there and try to help him. I mean, I want them, you got to fall in love with him and what he does and all his stuff, and it's hard. And so, like, I try to stay out of that, let him do his deal, and it's pretty cool.
With hitters like Michaela, Morgan Wynn, Katie Lott, 2 catchers that are being productive, how tricky is it right now to set a starting lineup?
It sucks right now, in a good way. I mean, I've had years where we're trying to find the 8th and 9th hitter too. So it's really cool. The person that's probably being shortchanged the most is Katie Lott. But I don't really have a reason to take others out at this point. So, Carwile had struggled last week. I sat her down. That was not easy. It was not fun. And she was pissed, and I get it. I'd be pissed too. I want them to be pissed. So, and I got Katie in there. I had told Katie that I was going to get her 2 starts this last weekend. She has earned that. She deserves to have 6 at-bats or so in a row. We had got her that. She is a on-base machine. Hit a couple balls hard. One got caught. Walked a bunch. She's walked, I think, 11 times in probably close to 30 plate appearances. She's walked 11 times. It's crazy. So she's got a good eye, and just seems to be in control of the moment. So very difficult. I'm gonna try to get her good at bats this weekend, and we'll see how it goes. But it's tough. It is really tough. So I had said this in the beginning. I think I said it at our media day to start. If Morgan Wynn and Michaela Work are both in the lineup, this team's going to be really good. So it's going to create more problems, but it's going to be really good. And that was my hope. We have Morgan batting 7th, and I know her average is hovering just under 300, but 19 RBIs. I look at Florida State's stats. I don't know if they had one person over 17. And Morgan's hitting 7th in our lineup, and we've played a really good schedule. So she's done it against really good teams. So it's pretty cool.
Anything else for Kenny? About not chasing wins, real quick. Is that something that you've maybe grown into? I don't know if did that tempt you early on, or how tempting can that be for a coach?
It tempts you every year. I mean, it does. It tempts you and I've been tempted to soften the schedule. But I don't think our program thrives on that. I think others do. I've seen it. They annihilate teams that the name on the front doesn't have as much strength. We tend to not annihilate those teams. And I don't know why it is. I don't know if that's me. It could be. I need to get better. I know that. But I just feel like if you're going to play, you might as well go get it and see what it's all about. I don't want to be disappointed at the end. Like, I don't want to be one of those teams that's sitting in a room hoping their name is going to get called. There is nothing worse than that. And if you play a soft schedule and you aren't in the top of your league, you're going to be one of those teams. And there would be nothing worse than having to end your season right there in that room where your name didn't get called. And there's a lot of people that have to end it just like that. So I don't want to be in that spot. I'd rather just know, hey, this year we sucked. We got to go on. And it's what it is. And that's okay too. I mean, there's some checking some things out in that too, and redoing, reprioritizing, all that stuff. So that's just why we do it.